get a roll call, please?
District A, Angela Tappan.
Here.
District B, Henry Doty.
Here.
District C, James Green.
Here.
District D, Derek Green.
Present.
District E, Howard Law.
Here.
The record will show that, all five are present and have a quorum.
All right, stand for the invocation and the pledge, please. Mr. Locke, could you lead us in prayer, please?
Almighty Father, once again, we want to thank you for allowing the city council and the mayor and the public to be at this meeting. We hope that we carry this meeting out in order. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Agenda modifications.
I'd like to expand the agenda in order to name a couple of members to the Sales Tax Commission.
Any public comments related to expanding the agenda to appoint sales tax commission members? Don't believe there is any merit at this point. It's proper for a vote.
Okay, could I get a vote on it? Can I get a vote?
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Motion carries unanimous. That would be agenda item E, which is appoint sales tax commission members.
E. Oh, I gotta say, you got it.
Do we have any? Oh, sorry, G. We can go to E on my paper. Go back over that.
All right. Any public comments as they relate to the item on the agenda? Any public comments as they relate to the items on the agenda? Announcement and recognition by the mayor and districts. Report of city officials. Special meeting business. A, memorial agreement, Derek Lawson, inventory and assess control.
Members, Richard Smith, here with the office, the mayor. This is an agreement we enter into, the city wants to enter into, to develop, asset control and inventory control, policies and procedures. I want to be a little polite in saying that, this is needed, desperately needed, in every way imaginable. And it's one of the things that's going to reduce costs. Because as you can see in the budget, the 5-year actual, you can see that it appears to be some of the same purchases that we've been, the city's been doing over and over and over. So again, in this agreement is going to allow us to actually capture some additional revenue in regards to disposing of surplus assets that are no longer have public purpose and public use. So this is the agreement to enter in with a local Morris Parish owned Mr. Lawson. He's a subject matter expert. He's worked for several different companies doing this for many, many years. And he's gonna lend his talents on a temporary basis, probably over the next 3 months, to get us to the point where we can safely say that we can identify and track every asset, every piece of equipment that has value for the city.
What scale? From cars down to?
From wrenches to cars to everything that has a value. The way he explained it has value, we'll put a tag on it. Different kinds, just depends on the actual, and some of them gonna be labels, some of them gonna be the metal tags, just depends on the product.
So the price that we looking at is $4,200?
Up to, you may not take that. It's if you look at the contract, it's for up to 120 hours. So if, and the mayor's gonna dictate what he needs. The main thing is, again, to just track and label every piece of equipment property that we have. You know, that could take, you know, a couple of weeks, and then put in policies to make sure that we can keep track of everything. And this is gonna be at these bases. So we anticipated it lasting at least 3 months, but if the work is done and, you know, the mayor was okay, we fine right now, we may later on, because it expire after a year.
So you got, so in other words, you think it's best to outsource it and do it in-house?
It's maybe most,
Yes, because this has been going on for years. Things just can't walk off and leave.
and then you have an independent third party.
Yeah, this right here is the most.
Have somebody that don't know what's going on.
Yes, go
We have
ahead.
one of our workers, Kyron, will be with him, also learning how to do that, so we don't have to do it alone. He'll always be there to, you know, teach somebody else. But we gotta get a hand on our property, because it don't make no sense we keep buying these high tools at this price going up. We keep doing the same thing, spending the same money.
Right.
And if you go over there, you look around, it's a hazard too, so he's cleaning all that up, safety stuff also, he's doing all that.
Okay.
Yeah, and that training element is also incorporated in it. So once he goes through and identify surplus stuff that has no value, no public use, but has value that the city can recoup, you know, gonna just, you know, remove that from inventory, and then train, Mr. Thompson to, mainly to, learn how to do the asset control moving forward. So you come in, lay everything out, train the appropriate personnel to where, you know, when we say, thank you, Mr. Gosselin, we got somebody to pick up the ball and keep rolling with it.
So do we have a fixed asset, like inventory sheet? And this what he's going, oh, okay.
So this is, in the break on Devin Jones, city attorney, speaking to Mr. Smith, this is also something that Mr. Smith had looked into with regards to audit finding. We've had institutionally, year over year, we've had a weakness finding in what is considered inventory controls. I will also remind the council, we had a grant audit that audited a grant in a prior administration that audited there was a grant that occurred in about 2019 that was audited last year, of which the weakness that was determined in that was that we did not have the inventory control nor the purchasing policies or places like that in place. This is something that would keep a master inventory list for us to be able to say, yes, we have this amount of this equipment, here's where it's at, here's how it's maintained. And it brings out an outside source to start that original count. We want somebody who is outside, who's not a vested interest or anything, that will say, this is what you have strategically, and then train somebody for it to keep up with that list. That is a position and a weakness that's always been in our audit findings as far as I was able to go back, is that as far as inventory goes, there is a weakness in actually having a master list of that for an auditor to go to and say, we have this many, that many, this many. On the legal side, when something goes to no longer having use for the city, we can then declare it surplus. We can either auction it, sell it, retain some value back if it has no value to us. And also it allows us to keep up with what our actual inventory is. There's a lot of discussion about equipment at some point, sports equipment, things like that we previously had that we no longer have.
Wait,
I have a question. I have a question. So will this person go back and look at the last 4 years' purchase orders to kind of compare and have somewhere to start?
I don't think that they're gonna go back and go to that procedure and actually do what would be like a physical auditing of what's been purchased and what we have. But we will know if we wanted to go that far, we could go that realm if there's some major deficiencies exposed or some areas this person points out that, hey, it appears that you're really low in inventory. Once we have that master list, we can elect and use other sources. This person is simply creating a master list and showing staff and training to be able to do this as an outside source, not somebody who has a vested interest in the city. That way, it's independent.
And to piggyback off that, and Ms. Tappan, Madam Pro Tem, is that could be the evolution of this contract. If, you know, say 2 months in, he's only billed 90 hours, and then you know, in consultation with the mayor, if that's the pivot that you want to have, and just to, you know, audit previous years in purchasing, that's something can be done. Primarily, the mayor was focused on establishing protocols to track inventory, to figure out what we have, because, you know, I'm sure down the road in another budget that we're gonna have, Mr. Gray may have a question about, okay, you got, you know, $60,000 in equipment, what you need that for? Then we pull out the list from Mr. Green, we got X, Y, Z, the mayor recommends that we replace A, B, C. And then we can match it up and tell you why, because we can justify it at that point. Because in this budget, because we inherited, we couldn't really justify what those expenditures, we just went with what the actual were.
So, because you have some items, especially fixed assets, that depreciate different, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the items that we have to purchase, and if we find out that they have been purchased prior, do we try to seek where they are?
Yes, if, to the extent we can. And that may be something that we have to outsource to
Because
law
I'm
enforcement.
looking out.
Right. So it is, again, this is something that the mayor's identified, probably day 2 mayor, I mean, you can speak to that. That was like, we gotta do something with, inventory and asset protection, and this is one of the things that was able to
Mr.
exist.
Johnson, my suggestion I get a clear understanding of what we're talking about. We're talking about inventory, right?
Inventory assets, everything that's a value to the city.
Right. Are we talking about mostly things that are running and that are not running?
Everything that has a value.
So the city right now doesn't have a list
No.
at all.
Yeah, like most companies, they, like even the chairs you sit in will be considered as fixed assets.
We are.
They normally be tagged with a number, a serial number.
And some of them are, some of them are not, but.
Right. Understand. Okay, go back to the compensation part.
Mhm.
It says the total compensation shall not exceed 4,200 for 120 consulting hours and shall be payable on a monthly basis.
Mhm.
So 4,200 is going to be the total, up to the total compensation
Right.
on a monthly basis.
No. That's the total contract. So if the contract lasts 6 months and doesn't exceed 120 hours, it's not going to exceed $4,200. You know, he doesn't have to build that out in 3 months. It could be 12 months. It depends on what the mayor's priorities are once he starts work. You know, he's gonna be given targets once he meets the mayor's targets, and if it, you know, needs to pivot to a certain area and address some of the things that Mayor Pro Tem had indicated, then that can be done. So
You're fine with the way it's written, because again, at the end of that statement, it says on a monthly basis.
yeah, it's bill month
He's gonna invoice it.
invoice.
Okay.
So let's say this, I think he's due to do some work Thursday, maybe Friday, and some days next week. So say that's 10 hours, he'll bill 10 hours for that month and get paid for that, and it deducts it from his 42.
So do we?
Okay, hang on just a second, Mr. Didi. If, let's say in the first two weeks, and again, I'm just trying to get a clear understanding. So, going forward, then I will know. And again, it's always about putting out the best information possible that we get in here, we can put it out to the public. So if he builds up to 90 hours in 3 or 4 weeks, right? I'm just saying, just a number.
Mhm.
So on this contract, he'll have up to 30 hours left
Correct,
to build the city.
correct. And that's it, unless, you know, the mayor wants to extend, of course, and bring it back to the council.
Right, and one last thing, that gentleman's not here, I
No.
don't know who this person is. So, could you all give us a good background of this person? I heard y'all talking before, but again, I couldn't understand it because it was mostly on that end.
I didn't bring his resume, but he's
He's from
born,
Morris
he's born and raised Morris Parish, Delta High School graduate. He's been working in inventory asset control for various plants for 20 plus years. I mean, he has a wealth of experience and knowledge and subject matter expertise in this. So it's not just like somebody who's coming off. the street.
Right.
But again, I wasn't prepared to
Still
give
like
that
to know
information.
who it is.
But that's somebody the mayor's vetted. and, you know, we can provide, resume, and when he's here, on site, Mr. Doty, I mean, we can invite you over there to go out and work with him and, Mr. Thompson and other people, and you see what he's doing. It's gonna be evident what he's doing. You go out and look at the shop in the area out there and go 60 days later and see the difference.
One more question. I know, did I hear you say he's gonna, write the policies and procedures?
Yeah, he's gonna develop
That's
that.
very important.
Mhm. And I forgot what he described it as, Mary, can you remember what it is? But I mean, this is what he does.
Yeah.
And to give you an idea of the compensation, this fixed amount of hours and fixed fee, it is a great benefit because it really reduces what is professional services. To give you an idea, most professional services bill somewhere around $150 an hour. For a secretary or even like for our accounting services that happen with the auditors, you're generally paying $65 to $75 for what is considered their assistance work that they do in a professional staff member in their office. So this is at $35 an hour is almost less than half of what you pay most professional services administrative staff to do work on something.
Yeah, that's
It's a
because,
very good negotiated rate that's extremely fair. And Mr. Grissom Lawson was more than willing to do it as that he's here and that he has the experience to do it. And it's very beneficial. It was, yes, there's some compensation here, but it's also giving back to us.
And that's not his rate.
Because we have air
It's
filters,
way lower than his rate.
we have air filters been here since, the early 90s, and nobody knew, they can't just throw it away.
Right.
So that's something he saw, and the workers pointed out to him, and they've been there for years. So,
That is a frequent question that has come across my office as the city attorney, is Mr. Smith and the mayor and others, as we're working forward with department heads, is they have redundant supplies. If need only go behind the courtroom here, there is things back there that are just stacked that are with a surplus. But when you don't have a master list, we can't just go through and say, hey, this needs to be declared surplus. We need to do something with it to free up room. We have rooms upstairs in City Hall that just have equipment that is old equipment. We don't know what caliber or what quantity, even what brand it is, or what purpose it serves, if any, for the city on a day-to-day basis or an annual basis. And this will give us that base to be able to start getting where we want to be more efficient and effective in doing stuff, and also making room for other activities that we can take part in.
I can't say that the price was 200 because we just talked to a program that's almost 2,500 more, and then it's pretty much gonna be like online training. So get hands-on training for $4,200. Not bad. But so also I see here that the agreement shall take place August the 18th. Should we change that date?
Yes, that was with, originally intended, but his schedule wouldn't apply. And then we got to put it on the agenda, for last week.
And then you also said that it's go for 6 months, but I see that it shall remain effective until December 30th, which would give 4 months.
Yeah, that's the initial, thought process, but when the mayor originally engaged, it's okay. We need to get something intensive done as quick as possible, so we can, have a policy put in place, an inventory, and have a true accounting of what we have. But that can be amended and modified.
And we just passed the budget. Also in that budget, I kind of just commend you guys for the cuts that you did. So with this $4,200, where would that funds come from?
That is actually in professional services already, but, and I put that in there and forgot that I also put $50,000 in auction revenue, which is going to be directly impacting what it's doing. So it's almost like it's paying for itself.
So once he finalized, and I'm assuming that he can account all the fixed asset and some of the stuff that probably depreciate out. Do we sell those items? And in the items that we do sell, can that funds cover this payment?
It can, or we could just do, cost allocation between it. Just like the amendment that I proposed, we could do it like that. But again, that money is already in professional services already, so there wouldn't be the need to do that. Change budget at all. But if you want to extend it, to do other things like do a audit of prior purchases, then we can do a new MOA and tag that the money that was generated from those auction sales, which should be more than $50,000.
Cause, and I'm following the mayor where he said that some stuff, you know, and I'm assuming that, can I just get up and walk away? Because a lot of people do these fixed assets inventory in-house. You really don't need an outside source, and I'm assuming it's the best for us to get outside source because some of the things that's inside taking place, but because going forward, it don't take much to tag and write down. And put
Once you have the
inventory
master
out
list, you can backtrack like, okay, why is this missing?
Yeah.
Go to the list and see people that touched it, and then you narrow it down.
I have another question. Who is the young lady that you said would be working alongside, Mr. Gloss?
Yeah, man.
Young man,
So whoever,
Kyron Thompson.
say again?
Kyron Thompson.
He already in the department, I'm
He's
assuming.
already, yeah, he's already working.
he's a current employee.
Okay, all right, last question. With this guy coming on board, and it's kind of gonna almost seem like to me, this is gonna be like maybe the top job. Are we gonna delay, or is there gonna be a delay in hiring a public works director until this guy gets done?
Totally separate, totally separate.
I understand they're separate.
Yeah.
Again, just to be clear, I want to pose that question.
Because we'll,
I got a, it's an application anybody can fill out. The position is still open. No one has filled out for it, and it's still vacant. Right now, we are, as administration, we are working hard to fill it. We are working hard to get the city straight, and that's a day-to-day operation we're trying to do.
yeah, because, the two of them definitely don't go hands in hands at all. Because then,
You need to separate it.
If anything, once the mayor hires a public work director, he's gonna work in tandem with developing that policy, because it's, like I said, it's totally two different.
but before we make this motion, I just need to be clear, because here I am. Ms. Stafford, Ms. Locke, been here. Any type of extending the agreement, we'll come back before the council. It was not just that.
Yes.
Yeah,
And
'cause
that's
we find ourselves.
new day, new way. Take,
I
new
say
day,
that.
new way.
Thank you so much. Well, I'll make that motion.
New way.
Can we get clear enough?
Can't make it clear enough, because again, every professional service that, and I'm not speaking for the mayor, I'm just telling you what he said, that professional services contracts are always gonna be reduced to writing, and always gonna be presented to the board for approval.
Well,
Money runs out of the time.
And for purposes of legal, as the issue I know that we're discussing, we've had before, I would state that if the motion was made to enter into this memorandum of agreement as articulated tonight, presented to the council, that's what the motion is for, the authority to enter into this agreement.
With those terms that you articulated,
Those
Mr.
are-
Green. So any deviation from that, we have to come back to the board.
I make the motion into this memorandum of agreement with Derek Glosson.
Second.
All in favor?
Uh,
Any opposed? Motion carries. Appreciate y'all, council. B, city of Bastrop document retention policy.
This was an agenda item that was asked to place on here. I would make mention that the city of Bastrop does have a records retention schedule that is on file with Louisiana Secretary of State as the custodian of record is the city clerk. Any inquiry or about public documents goes to the city clerk, not to the mayor or anybody, because that's who it goes to, the custodian of records. That said, there are some issues, and really items B and C were supposed to be B and then B1, which would be underneath the executive session. I would just ask that we pass those matters for right now and move on to the special permits, and then move on to items D, E, F, and G, and then return to that item as the last item.
Okay.
We need to make
Can I get a vote?
I don't think you have to have a vote, it's just, you can take it, you can proceed on.
Okay. All right, so D, Healing and Deliverance Center.
Well, let's do, since D and E is in my district,
D is the Healing and Deliverance Center. This one, I'll take it for you. I would ask that y'all just table it to the next meeting, because this is an office space that is in a district where office space is not approved. We need to meet with those people. I tried to inquire if they were here tonight. They are not here tonight. I would just ask that we table this one until the next meeting, which would be the September meeting.
being it's my district, I want to make a motion to table D.
Second.
Can we have those people to come? I see they said the paperwork here, but who are these people?
That's what we,
That's what we'd inquired about. I tried to inquire with the audience to see if anybody was here and they're not. I've asked Ms. Holmes, we'll reach out to them, have them here, because there's some explanation on that.
Yeah, we need to see.
And as it goes to item E is, one step at a time, 339 North Locust. That matter is actually, is a consistent use that was a use that would be by right. So that matter has been approved to be done, so that can be taken on.
we got to vote on D. I made a motion to
Oh, I'm
second.
sorry.
Second. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion passed.
I have I guess a concern or just a statement about D. Now, I know you said that area was not zoned for an office, but at one time, this was a home health.
It was, and that's what I wanted to look into, because it appeared to be, I have a picture of the building, it appears to be a retrofitted building that's being used for that. So I want to pull the previous permit to see if there's a special use for that and also get that to the council, along with talking with these applicants to be able to do it. I was hoping that they had been here tonight, but they were not. But I'll also pull that previous permit that was issued for that to give consistency of history for that location.
I know it was a dress shop, but before that, it was a home health farm.
It appears that it's always been a merchant building in some form, or a retail establishment, or some form of office space. It does not appear it was a retrofitted home or anything.
Will we reach out to this person?
We'll reach out to them and make sure that they're here, and that we pull the permit for the previous occupant who was there to ensure. Because special permits do run with land once they're done, so it's a little different. That said, we have the one step at a time, which is item E, if you don't mind, Mayor, if I call it. And I can announce that matter is actually, we were able to determine that is a matter that the use for which they were using was not actually one that needed a special permit or a variance or anything. It's actually a by right use. And what I'll articulate to you is, this is a group living facility. In our zoning ordinances, this would be an RT2, which means that under RT2, they are allowed to use as a detached living and as a group living space. They're allowed that. It's allowed by right. It's within our things. It's strictly conforming. So that is an approval by right. It's already been done and authorized and sent out. It just was placed on the agenda because we previously had it there, but it's been taken care of. So we can pass on that matter.
Yeah.
No, we don't have to do anything with that one. That would bring us to item F, which is discussion. I'll let the mayor announce his agenda. I'm gonna try to think it over. Yes,
Okay, yep, discussion and action, City Hall building improvements. That is, yeah, the change order to the City Hall.
Okay, so the mayor brought to my attention that a change order had been submitted on July 8th. This is for the previous amount. The previous contract was for 473. Change orders had been submitted based on the project. There is attached in your packet is change order number 4, which shows that there was a change in order which caused the project to go from 473 to 529 with 198, which I believe I spoke with Mr. Smith. Was that within the budgeted range that we had?
It is, but members are gonna have to do an inventory of well, our audit of the ARPA monies, because there's about $320,000 that's been allocated in the budget for the expenditures. It's just when you look at the audit, the report, the ARPA report is kind of hard to make heads or tails, so I'm gonna have to go back and pull invoices to see what has been paid and what hasn't been paid, and see if the total amounts to 320. To the extent that it exceeds that, the money is in the general fund balance, because whenever you don't expend monies from any expenditure category, it doesn't carry forward. I'm not understanding why it doesn't. It just goes into the fund balance. So, and again, we inherited the budget, and we assumed that the amount that they put in the budget was the net difference of what's left to be paid. So to the extent that it's not, we identify that money, identify that it is actually in the fund balance to be appropriated. Hopefully it's not, because I was looking at the ARPA report. I believe it had an original total contract price for this, I think around $600,000.
Yes.
So it should be fine, assuming that their numbers were correct.
So, because I know with the ARPA funds, this was one of the allocation line items for this particular item. So what made it increase by 46,000?
The change order, you specify.
This change order was made in the previous administration. It was a number of lights that were exchanged and replaced the lighting. There was also some of the, if you notice, the tile floor was previously removed to be installed, new tile floor up front. There's a specific allocation for that tile floor. I believe the lights ran about 155 a light, and there was a significant number of those lights replaced to add new lighting.
So also too, when we did when the ARPA, when this line item was allocated, so it had to be obligated by December 31st. What was the price of the obligation before December 31st?
I believe it was for this.
No, not for the payment for the particular line item.
Oh, it was about
I can only go by what's in the report, so I'm not sure.
Here's the
I'll look
thing,
at it.
because
It's less, this amount is still less than what we obligated.
so that means we'll be within budget
Correct.
of the ARPA funds that was allocated and obligated for this particular line item.
Correct.
But the only thing that I can't tell you is out of that, once we do an audit of that report, what I can't definitively tell you is if there's more or less than $320,000 left to spend.
Because we
I
had a
just can't
question,
tell you that for sure.
I'm not sure who asked the question. I don't know, Councilman Green or Councilman Bradford asked the question. Well, the question was asked, so if it had to be, so just say for this particular line item, $600,000 had to be obligated by December 31st. So once we get to the point where we receive the bill, if it's less than the $600,000 that obligated, do that money go back?
Well,
That's I don't know the answer to that.
it's gonna
And
depend.
so running lights up.
Well, that's it. And so what it's gonna take is us working,
Put some more.
what it's gonna take is us working with it's gonna take us working with individuals in the know on our ARPA stuff, which we have access to. They'll be able to tell us, yes, we can increase the expenditures underneath that program.
Because Ms. Hart's still on the contract, right?
She is.
And
And
so let's not reach out to pay anybody else when we already paid.
we're not, that's who's giving us this information.
Right. And that's one of the conversations I need to have with her so I can do a proper
It's
audit.
I can tell you right now, the amount that was placed for City Hall repairs and maintenance was $628,221. So if we're still underneath by the end of the contract, but if we're still running underneath as the project rolls forward, then it looks like those change orders might come in more to run up to the line.
What's scary is if the company itself know what was allocated, because all they're gonna do is keep increasing it. So if they know, just say they know, I'm not sure who they talk to or communicate with, but they know, hey, well, we got ARPA funds for $600-some-thousand. Regardless if we have a contract for $473,000. All they have to do is keep running it up until we reach the 60, because they know if we don't use it, we lose it.
Well,
initiated the change order?
the change orders would have been initiated by members within the previous administration. I don't know which specific members or person they've been authorized by.
And again, I can see,
Yeah.
So one thing that you can buffer against on that is that this stuff was all publicly bid because of the process of it. So they're confined to the bid unless you authorize them to go above. Now, there is always some buffer for change orders on cost wise, but it's not. So they bid an amount that was less than what we allocated for art. They had originally bid 473. They're tied to 473 unless we specifically authorize them to do extra work above that cost.
That's my question. Who authorized the change?
The previous administration authorized the change.
and so, and then also too, the thing about, we need to talk to Mr. Park for is because if we actually, because according to what the state think that we are obligated $600 and some $20,000, right?
We need to get as close to that line as possible.
Yeah, we roll a red carpet.
Yeah, we can raise up the whole.
Yeah.
See our houses.
I think
As long
it's,
as it's a part of that.
as long as it's part of that project. So I think as long as we're going along, I know we're at set phases in this project. So as the phases get there,
It's scary.
we can have the conversation with the engineer, Volker, and say, hey, where we're at in this phase, okay, we still have this amount remaining that was allocated and obligated.
That's the point that's scary, because the way why I say that is because, hey, give us this amount, and then what we gonna do is keep on,
You fixing it up.
you know,
But they
have-
they completion. The price is going on.
or either just conversation.
Yeah.
So the work that they contracted them to do, they were bound to the price of 473.
Yeah.
Anything we want above that, they could add. But of course, when you start making those change orders, I get what you're saying. They say, oh, it's more expensive than what it normally is.
Because also too, with that funding, if you don't use it, you lose it. So what I'm saying is, I want everything done right, but, and legal. Definitely legal. But if it's something that I City Hall can utilize,
Yeah.
and we have the money, because the money I already have to get it, then let's get it done.
And I think that's with Chris Volker and Ms. Hart all in the room, and everybody saying, hey, what do we still have left in this project, and how much do we have to take it out?
They know.
Could
They know.
that extra money left, could it been used for the unsaid happening?
Yes.
Possible, depends on how large, it depends on how large the original program, how large, it depends on how big the bid was written in the description of the bid. Because you're gonna be bound by the bid, the request for proposals.
Well, hold on, just so we need an AC unit upstairs, right? So now that they just gave us a change order, which was, initiated by the previous administration, there's been an increase of 46,000. Even if we take this $500 and some odd $1,000, we got $100,000 left to play with. So listen, you tell Volker, we don't need to do nothing else, and then we can fix our AC unit.
Well, so where you're bound at in how far out in that scope of that project we can go is, what is the request for proposals? What is the description of what's to be done?
Well,
Because that's what was
I
bid.
think we don't want that money going back.
No, nobody wants the money going back. But if it's within the description, yes, that's very much a good thing to do.
Yeah, because the line item say City Hall building improvements. I don't know what better improvement than A.
Yeah, it's gonna depend on, that's the title, it's gonna depend on what the actual description of the project was that keeps us confined.
And it's,
Mr. Jones.
Because they'll write a paragraph, say this work, this work, this work, and so that's what it's confined there.
Mr. Jones, if you will. Again, some of this stuff I am catching up on. And when an inspection was done for the city hall, of what all the improvements that needed to be done according to the money that was laid out for that, the flooring up here in the front, are you telling me that that was not a part of the original inspection and to-do list?
That, I don't know whether it was or was not. I'm not Public Works. I have never opined to be Public Works. I'm just telling you how the change order came in and what it covered. I just read off the paper.
and it sucks that our public workers just left before we was able to ask that question.
It's a very valid question for where it was, but as I said, it's legal. I'm just telling you what the change order covered. They give me a baseline, they tell me what it covers, and that's what I do.
And so where I'm going from there is, are there could there possibly be other, other parts of City Hall that maybe were not inspected, that should be inspected, that might need, some upgrade? Are we up to date on everything that's in this building that, should be upgraded? Because again, if you can attach it to that particular project, then I would assume that's something we would want to do.
I like it.
And I think that's something that is outside of legal, but something that more than likely is being looked into by the administration, where we can do this within the parameters of the project.
She.
It's hard, yeah.
It's hard to know
Before you
if we can use the excess.
I think, so, and I think it's
It's
gonna
not-
cover,
it's
it
not-
covers
it's
that
not-
proposal.
But it's just
Remaining balance.
the remaining balance.
Yes, and we have direct access to that very easily.
And if that's the case,
We're gonna be good.
yeah, that means that you can defer that payment of the AC unit to this amount, and you free up 100.
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah, you can free up that money in general fund that y'all can allocate.
Yeah, because I'm thinking, is just say money there, right? And it's something that's, if City Hall need to be paid, just improve, fall on the improvement, right?
But that's a question, because like Councilman Doty said, that this, these improvements that's,
They come out.
subject of this change order
Yeah,
is something that wasn't originally contemplated but fit under the plan, then I don't see why, if y'all want to pivot from this, make those AC units fit under that, and you
Yeah.
reallocate the budgeting for those that's already in general fund, and you can reallocate somewhere else,
because
pay it
it's,
out of this
they
remaining.
consider it a wash, but really not, but it go into,
Now, what you do is you do you pay for it out of different object categories.
Yeah.
And that object category that's in the current budget, just stay there. That you know, the council, in consultation with the mayor, can reallocate to another object category that you see
we can get in the
fit.
budget to do something.
Yeah.
I like
So,
that. That's why I'm saying, I like this. We looking at.
We've got it.
So do we need any actions where we are?
I think we need
We looking at over $100,000.
we need,
when you subtract this,
Yeah, I did.
we need approval of the change order so that we can include the project too.
I mean,
So, you know, shit,
well, I thought they wanted to hold off on.
we're gonna hold off.
Can you hold off on
You
that?
can say, every change order that comes through, as they come through, that's why you see number 4. As they come through, you approve them as they come through.
Oh, okay.
I cannot make a suggestion, tell them, run it by the mayor before they start telling us what we need, because they know we got some money for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they all have to be, so the way this change order would have worked was the previous administration would have said, hey, I want to make this change order that way. It's kind of like at your house, you got your guys say, I really thought I wanted a wall there, but I don't want the wall there. And like, hey, that was in the plans, we quoted it that way. If you want to change it, sign off, we'll change it. And
Or I can go another way, hey, Che, I feel y'all should do X, Y, Z.
But they have to get your approval from the contract to be able to do that.
But I'm saying they can influence you, like, hey, I feel like you guys, if you don't do this right now, something's gonna happen.
Yeah, and I think that that's valid input if they're gonna do that, but they have to get approval by it. This was just laying it on the desk.
Yeah, it is literally.
Yeah, I like it.
And then Ms. Hart can give an explanation on whether or not those items can be
I hope
fit
so.
into that general
Yeah, we'll be able to do
plan.
that.
Yes, yeah.
And then that gives some flexibility between, to move that $140-some thousand. So the council wanted to table that, and I invite Mr. Engineer and Ms. Hart at the next meeting to discuss this.
I'm trying.
She needs to submit some support. So.
But if they want to approve this change.
Yes, I see, I have, like that. So where we are.
So where we're at,
It's still gonna be, that's just for City Hall.
that's just the,
That should be.
Lights out there, we can use something for them lights.
so we can approve the change order.
LED,
I don't think they're gonna approve that.
police station lights,
They're
though.
gonna take,
I had to try to fix some this week.
that's why.
We got LED lights all around, you know, so.
So any action by the board regarding this change order?
No, I think,
Table it.
I don't make that. Engineer.
See, motion
I make a
table.
motion that we table this.
I second that.
All in favor? Any opposed? Carries all in favor.
Like, I think it's the add in, the add on.
Yeah, the add-on is the item G, which is the appoint sales tax commission members. And for record, we have noticed from the sales tax commission that we do need to appoint them because we're outside. We need to stay within the time limits to appoint members to that sales tax. We have two that need to be appointed, the mayor's gonna work with you.
We have, Ms. Lorraine Clark, that's clerk, and Ms. Sandra Middleton, the treasurer.
I make that motion.
I second.
I was just saying.
I second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Then we'll go back to the, executive session.
I make a motion to go into executive session.
Second.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
I'll draft a letter on that to send to the sales tax commission.
We had an itemization of,
We did, it was attached to one, but that's what I remembered, it was the lights and the floor. It is. Told you I'm gonna get you out of here by your story.
So you got it.
I'm going to executive session.
District A, Ms. Tappan.
Here.
District B, Mr. Doty.
Here,
District C, Mr. James Green.
Here.
District D, Mr. Darren Green.
Present.
District E, Mr. Long.
Here.
All five present, we have a quorum.
Be a motion to exit executive session and re-enter the special.
I make the motion, I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We're now in the regular special meeting again. That concludes the items on the,
I make the motion for adjournment.
there we go.
I second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Special meeting adjourned.